Now let's get into a bit advanced concept of flux in React. So what is a flux? Flux is an programming concept where the data is unidirectional. That is, the data enters the app and flows through is one-way direction until it's rendered on the screen. So you can say a application architecture for building UI is Flux. So it is a data flow application architecture created and used by Facebook for client-side web applications. React.js, on the other hand, is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. It is an implementation of web components for customized UI elements. This Flux can be implemented using any platform or any programming language, but when it is internally used in React.js, it works wonders, especially when it comes to the UI and UX. React enhances the use of reusable UI to generate components. So, the commandable user interfaces and components reassure us the many competencies that this combination offers us the well-known to make the most out of it. So, the Flux in React is known for its efficiency. It is a kind of architecture that complements React as a view that follows unidirectional data. That is, one-way data binding. So it is useful when the project has a dynamic data and we need to keep the data updated in an effective manner. It reduces runtime errors. So the core components of Flux architecture are responsible for closely coordinated functioning of the application. So these Flux applications have four major roles in dealing with the data. They control and initiate events as allocated to them to maintain the integrity and validity of the application state. This harmony amongst the component ensures this unidirectional data flow. So the four roles would be action, dispatcher, stores, and the views. So it's like a cyclic process on the unidirectional flow. So when an API is being triggered, action creators is being triggered and the dispatcher takes care of the callback. The stores takes care of the event data to communicate to the users. In simple words, actions are sent to dispatchers to trigger the data flow. Dispatcher, this is a central hub. All the data is dispatched and sent to the stores. So the store is a place where the application state and logic are held. Every store is maintaining a particular state and it will update when needed. The view will receive the data from the store and re-render it to the app. The view will receive the data from the store and re-render it to the app. So this is easier to maintain and the flow is easy to understand. The concept. Let me explain you little more brief how the flow happens. Here you should not be confused with the MVC model. Although controllers exist in both, but Flux, that is controller views, found at the top of this hierarchy. It retrieves data from the store and then passes this data down to the children. Additionally, action creators, dispatcher, these helper methods are used to describe all the changes that are possible in the application. It can be useful as the Flux update cycle. So, the action creator helper method create an action from the method parameter, assign it a type and then provide to the dispatcher. The dispatcher acts as the central hub and manages all data flow of your Flux application. For example, it is a registry of callbacks into the stores. That is, it sends every action to all stores via the callbacks that have been registered with it. So, it is a place which handles all events that modify the store. When an action creator provides a new action to this dispatcher, all stores receive that action through this events or callbacks that has been handled in the dispatcher. So this store contains the application state or the logic. So the term store itself denotes that it stores the logic of the application. Like it's similar to the model in traditional in MVC. So it is used for maintaining the particular state within an application. It updates themselves in response to the action and emit the change event to alert the controller view. So this is also called as controller view. It is located atop of the chain to store the logic, to generate actions and receive new data from the store. It is a React component which makes it to listen to change events and receive the data from the store and re-render the application. Now, this action, the dispatcher method allows us to trigger a dispatch to the store and include a payload of data which will call an action. So it is an action creator or helper methods that pass the data to the dispatcher again. So when you update something, this happens. So this action pass data to the dispatcher and are basically like helper methods. They introduce the data into Flux flow when interacting with to and fro traffic from the outside. Finally, the data finds a way to the stores. So, it is responsibility of the action components to synchronize and the sends and receives of the API components. Hence, it is responsibility of the action components to synchronize the sends and receives of the API components. The dispatcher, on the other hand, evaluates the events and the data exchanges that takes place according to the initiator of the event. So, this is the logic associated with the Flux architecture. You will have a better understanding when I illustrate you with a simple example in the next section. And hence, this is termed as a promising feature in web-fronted application that Flux and React.js comes in together and enforces unidirectional data flow that typically turns single page application into understandable and simple implementations.